again welcome you and share with you this evening some reflections of our vision of 52:1. You've heard it said already tonight, let us rise up and build. Drugs and violent crime are serious problems in our community, right? Yes. Well, we're here tonight to rally the troops, all of us here, to prepare to take action on these problems on May 10th. We are here because we share a vision for building the power we need to do justice. We are here to prepare for the tension that is surfaced by doing justice. Our vision is 52:1. We are working to turn out the average worship attendance from our congregations to the Nehemiah Action. We come together 52 times a year for worship service, so we can come together at least one time a year for justice. 52:1. But to do that, we have Justice Ministry Networks, a way of organizing our relationships so that we can turn out large numbers of people. For example, at Consolidated Baptist Church, we're going to turn out at least 400 people this year, which will be a big step towards eventually turning out our average worship attendance of approximately 1,200 people. Why do I value this vision? Firstly, because God calls us to do justice. It's also because I see a tale of two cities in Lexington. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. Words by Charles Dickens. This statement may very well describe Lexington, Kentucky, a city where there are the haves and the have-nots, those who are served and those who are not served. There is wealth and there is poverty, where some are favored and others are seemingly forgotten. Pope Francis calls this the throwaway culture, where human beings are themselves considered consumer goods to be used and then discarded. Ironically, Lexington was just named one of the best places to live by U.S. News and World Report. They cite a diverse job market, a stable economy, and a short morning commute. U.S. World News. At the same time, we know that this Lexington is not everyone's experience. There are neighborhoods which receive services and attention, and there are areas which are ignored, looked over, passed by, left behind, and thrown away. There are elementary school students who do high school level work, and then there are high school students who can't read at a third grade level. There are people who receive extraordinary services and people who receive the bare minimums. There are neighborhoods where children can go outside and freely play in the parks and streets without worry. And then there are other neighborhoods where it isn't safe to even sit on the porch. There are those who are satisfied and benefiting from the status quo. And there are those who weep, cry, and even die because of the pain of neglect, poverty, and injustice. Through our listening process, we heard your stories. We then assembled at the Community Problems Assembly to vote on the most pressing problems for our city. We've done our research with 26 meetings for our drug committee alone, and we've found solutions. We've talked to professionals in the field here in Lexington, and we've learned what's working in other cities. What we have done is good, but it is not good enough. It is not good enough for the inequities that trouble our community. It is not good enough for the people who were created in God's image. It is not good enough for the God that we serve. It is not good enough. And we will not leave well enough alone. We will not throw away people. Because of the work you all are doing, we will have 2,000 people attend the Nehemiah Action. Amen? Amen. As a result of our numbers of organized people, we will not be ignored and we will not be pushed aside. We will keep building so that one day we will turn out all of our average worship attendances and have over 15,000 people at the Nehemiah Action. And when that happens, Lexington will no longer be a tale of two cities. Together, we will have the power of organized people turning out our average worship attendances to fight for one standard for all of our children, for all of our people, for all of our families. 52. We will not have a throwaway culture dominated by a market God, little G-O-D, which disregards the needs of people or entire neighborhoods. The majority of our tax dollars dedicated to economic development favor the needs of our downtown businesses without consideration for the needs of everyone. We keep hearing that this will be a tight budget year for our city, but they did not hesitate to commit $20 million for renovations at Rupp Arena. We're not against that, but not all of us can even afford to go see the Wildcats play there. But all of our tax dollars will be used. By showing up to the Nehemiah Action with at least 3 others with you, we can challenge this narrative. 52. Our ability to organize people to stand as a unified body in the face of tension gives us power. For Christians, this act of solidarity exemplifies the call to love God and our neighbors as ourselves. This call to love our neighbor would be destructive if we mistake it to mean that we should be nice or be polite in the face of injustice. Dr. Martin Luther King observed, history will have to record that the greatest tragedy of this period of social transition was not the strident clamor of the bad people, but the appalling silence of the good people. We cannot be silent in the face of injustice. We must interpret Pharaoh's narrative and choose to proclaim God's story of hope and abundance. The prophets cried out for the suffering of God's people. They spoke about the brokenness they saw and affirmed God's plan to restore justice to the city. We too must speak truth into the broken systems in our city. And like the prophets, we will be spoken ill of from time to time. This is our sacrifice of love. Dr. King reminds us, prayer without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing demands of justice, and justice at its best is power correcting everything that stands against love. I encourage each of you to continue building that power so that we may one day correct everything that stands against love. 52.